Now the manganese dioxide, I'm going to do it all at once, so I didn't extract any of it yet. It's too dirty to be getting little samples out to see what kind of yield I got. But just to let you know, MnO2, this is the molar weight or molar mass, whatever you want to call it, 87 grams per mole. The equation called for 4 moles, so I multiplied it by 4. And then remember, we divided by 6 for everything. So I divided by 6. I should have 58 grams for the reaction, but you know, that stuff sticks into the filters. You know what I mean? You might end up with only 48 grams or 40 grams. Like I said, I'm going to do mine all at once, so I don't really know.
Alright, if you're going to use this just to make acetic acid, okay, you're going to drip sulfuric acid on the potassium acetate salt. I have sodium acetate, but same thing. You can have this option. You can basically just evaporate all the water off, and you would have potassium acetate and potassium carbonate. You can see down here I have both of them there. So instead of sulfuric acid plus your acetate, you would have the same thing, sulfuric acid plus your acetate, but you'd also have this it's going to react with. But the only thing it's going to do is make CO2 and some potassium sulfate. So it really doesn't interfere with making your acid, you know what I mean? You would need 3 moles for this because it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? So you'd need 3 for that, 3 moles, and you'd also need a half a mole for your to neutralize that. So you need 3.5 moles of sulfuric acid. And if you did the same exact experiment I did here, you'd have to divide that by 6 to tell you how much sulfuric acid you needed. Because remember, we divided everything by 6 at the end. And that's it. You wouldn't have to worry about recrystallizing it or if it's pure or if it's this or that. You just evaporate all the water. And all the salt that's left, you take it all. But keep in mind, if you do that, an acid and a base makes salt water. So if you do this, you can't make glacial ethanoic acid. You know what I mean? It's going to have some water in it. But if you don't mind having a little bit of water in it, you can easily just do what I'm saying, but you have to be careful. It does liberate CO2, and you don't want it to, you know, foam up and get out of control.
There's my acetate, potassium carbonate mixture. I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to suck all the water out. Well, anyways, this is what crystallized out first. And it's about 26, 27 grams. Now, I should have got 49 if it was, you know, a perfect reaction. But remember, this was my first attempt. Don't think that just because I didn't use acid that, you know, the aqueous permanganate reaction doesn't work good. It works just as well. You just have to reflux it maybe, you know, 15, 20 minutes more or something like that. But the reason why I got such a crappy yield was because I didn't put an ice bath under the pot when I was adding the ethanol, which was the very first step, and I didn't have my condenser elongated for the reflux and for adding, you know what I mean? I should add that longer than just a small condenser. Anyways, just because I think this is potassium acetate doesn't mean it is. It is like liquefying though, right on this thing, man. What's the deal? What the heck? So I threw it in here. This was the part that I didn't recrystallize. I don't know if you can even see that on film. It's all liquid anyways. First, let's see what it does in some acid. Because if it's no carbonate, then there's going to be no fizzing. It's just acetate, you know what I mean? No fizzing. Yeah, there's some fizzing there. Just a little bit though. And throw a big clump in. That isn't fizzing that much. Maybe a lot of it is potassium acetate. That big chunk I put in there, it really smells like vinegar. Well, let's try this. Oh, wait, I gotta dry it. You can see nice dry white crystals. I got 28 grams there. When I recrystallized from water, I had 27 plus 1 gram I left in solution that I was going to discard. But that wasn't pure. This should be 76% the acetate and 23% the carbonate. So when I do this, put it in the ethanol, the anhydrous ethanol, it will dissolve all, to be pure. Won't be as much, but it'll at least be pure. The problem is I only have 100 milliliters of dry ethanol, and you can see there's still no 2 layers formed. But anyways, I'm going to put them together. I only have 100 milliliters, so I only took half of my yield here. So I only have 14 grams here instead of 28. Well, I don't see a biphasic mixture coming about, but you never know. That would ruin it because then the potassium acetate would just go into that water part. You know what I mean? We don't want that. We want it to stay in the ethanol. This is beautiful. I'm going to put the star bar in to stir this up a little bit. So I'm just going to stir that for a while. Well, the potassium acetate and carbonate mixture has been stirring and sitting in here for a while. So I'm going to filter it out, and hopefully the acetate is in solution and the potassium carbonate is out of solution. As you can see, I got the last bit of potassium carbonate on there. I'm going to suck it through dry. We'll evaporate that ethanol off and dry that up and weigh it up. There's your potassium carbonate that I filtered out of the ethanol. 8 grams. Now here's the other stuff that most of the ethanol is evaporated, and that's what you're left with. I'm about ready to filter it. I wish you could get a good shot of it.
don't know if you can even see this. Those are some nice crystals. Anyways, I'm not gonna do a yield for this. I mean, my yield is crap. I mean, it's like 10-20% or something like that. But I hope I told you all my mistakes so that if you try it, you could do a better job. You know what I mean? And the next time I try it, it'll definitely do a better job. But I did like this potassium carbonate in the ethanol thing. I love this idea. I think most of this that I filtered out, some of that I bet is not potassium carbonate, but just potassium acetate that didn't have enough time, to go into solution. That's all. I only had a little bit of ethanol. That's why I only did half of the stuff that I had. So if I would have had more ethanol, I think this would have been a better. It definitely made it pure. None of that potassium carbonate went into the ethanol. That's for sure. Anyways, have a great day, and always remember, science is great.